Excellence is not measured only by success, but by the ability to inspire others. That was the underlying message when Princess Leonor spoke about the true purpose of the Princess of Asturias Awards. These awards, she emphasized, are not simply ceremonies to honor achievement. They are a recognition of human values that go hand in hand with talent and perseverance. Each laureate represents much more than personal triumph. They stand as living examples of dedication, resilience, and the power of knowledge or creativity to change the world. In today's fast-paced society, where recognition often comes in the form of fleeting applause or digital approval, the awards remind us that true excellence endures because it is rooted in service, effort, and a commitment to something greater than oneself. When Princess Leonor acknowledged the laureates, she highlighted that they represent a wide spectrum of fields, from science and literature to arts, humanities, sports, and international cooperation. The variety itself is a statement. It tells us that excellence is not confined to one path, one discipline, or one country. It can emerge in a scientific discovery that saves lives, in a novel that reshapes how we see ourselves, in a performance that stirs collective emotion, or in an act of solidarity that unites people beyond borders. The laureates' work transcends their own lives. It becomes a gift to society, a seed planted for future generations to nurture. There is also a quiet reminder in her words that the path to excellence is rarely easy. Perseverance, she noted, transforms dreams into achievements. Behind every award stands a story of obstacles faced, moments of doubt, and sacrifices made. It is not the brilliance of a single day that defines excellence, but the long journey of commitment, the steady refusal to give up when the world offers reasons to stop. By recognizing such journeys, the awards elevate not only individuals, but the very idea of resilience itself. For young people listening, this message is particularly powerful. In a world often obsessed with immediate results, Princess Leonor's reflection asks them to see the deeper value in patience, effort, and persistence. To admire the laureates is not simply to be in awe of their accomplishments, but to learn from their path, to understand that greatness is built over time and with purpose. Excellence is contagious. It inspires others to aim higher, to be braver, to use their talents not only for themselves, but for the common good. In praising these figures, Princess Leonor reframed the awards as more than recognition. They are a compass. They point toward the values that keep societies alive and strong: knowledge, creativity, empathy, and determination. The laureates embody what it means to live not just for oneself, but for the larger world. And in honoring them, the Princess of Asturias Awards remind us that true excellence always carries with it a responsibility: to inspire, to lead by example, and to leave behind a legacy that others can follow. The future is not something we wait for. It is something we build. Princess Leonor's words about youth and responsibility carried this sense of urgency and possibility. Speaking as a young woman preparing for the responsibilities of leadership, she reminded her audience that her generation is not merely a passive witness to change, but an active force in shaping what comes next. The acknowledgement that she herself is still learning made her message even more relatable. It highlighted that responsibility is not something that arrives fully formed. It is a process of preparation, of listening, of growing into the roles that life entrusts to us. For young people across Spain and beyond, her message resonated as both encouragement and challenge. The encouragement comes from knowing that their voice matters, that they are part of a global community of youth capable of facing great challenges with creativity and courage. The challenge, however, lies in the recognition that the world today is complex. Climate change, inequality, economic pressures, and global instability are realities her generation must face. Leonor's call was not simply for hope, but for active engagement, for the courage to meet uncertainty with determination. She also underscored the importance of unity. In times of crisis, whether personal or collective, the instinct to divide or retreat often arises. Yet her reminder was clear: Compassion and solidarity are what carry societies forward. This is where youth hold a special power. They are less tied to divisions of the past and more open to cooperation across cultures, identities, and perspectives. In this sense, young people are not just heirs to the future, they are architects of it. Their openness, energy, and sense of justice are qualities that can transform societies when guided by responsibility. Her words also reflected a deep understanding of the balance between tradition and progress. As a future queen, her role is rooted in centuries of history, yet her vision spoke to renewal. Youth, she implied, have the ability to honor traditions without being bound by them, to carry forward what is valuable while reimagining what must change. Responsibility for her generation means not rejecting the past but building upon it, using it as a foundation to construct something better. By speaking as both a member of her generation and as someone destined for leadership, Leonor embodied the bridge between present challenges and future possibilities. She acknowledged that responsibility is not an easy weight to carry. It demands preparation, discipline, and humility. But in her words, responsibility was not portrayed as a burden, it was an opportunity. An opportunity to make a difference, to bring hope where there is fear, to show courage where there is doubt, and to offer solutions where there are problems. The message to her peers was unmistakable. Their actions today matter. Each choice, no matter how small, is part of a larger mosaic of change. Youth are not the future simply because of their age, but because of their capacity to take responsibility and act with purpose. What gives a nation its strength is not only its future vision, but also the roots that anchor it. When Princess Leonor spoke about Asturias as both a symbol of tradition and a source of renewal, she touched on one of the most powerful truths about societies. They endure because they remember where they come from, yet they thrive because they dare to grow beyond it. Her words reflected the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and embracing the innovation of younger generations. Asturias, with its history, landscapes, and traditions, represents for Leonor more than just a title. It embodies continuity, a living reminder of Spain's identity, values, and resilience. To speak of tradition is to speak of stories passed down through centuries, languages, customs, and ways of life that provide people with a sense of belonging. Without these, society risks losing its compass. Leonor's acknowledgement of Asturias as a foundation is a recognition that stability comes from respecting the past. It is a reminder that honoring tradition means safeguarding the lessons, sacrifices, and wisdom of those who came before. Yet her message did not stop there. Tradition, she implied, is not meant to hold us still but to propel us forward. Renewal is the second half of the equation. Young people bring energy, creativity, and a fresh perspective that allows societies to adapt to new challenges. In Asturias, Leonor said she feels both the strength of its traditions and the drive for renewal, showing that these two forces can coexist harmoniously. Renewal does not erase history. It extends it into the future, making it relevant for generations yet to come. The Princess of Asturias awards themselves reflect this duality. They honor individuals who innovate in science, arts, literature, and cooperation, while also recognizing the universal values of perseverance, solidarity, and cultural heritage. Each laureate symbolizes how tradition and renewal meet. A writer uses timeless language to tell new stories. A scientist builds on decades of research to find fresh solutions. A humanitarian act transforms age-old compassion into modern solidarity. In this way, tradition inspires renewal, and renewal keeps tradition alive. Leonor's words carried a subtle but important lesson for her generation. It is not enough to break with the past in pursuit of progress, nor is it wise to cling to old ways without change. True responsibility lies in weaving the two together, carrying forward the essence of what makes a culture unique while reimagining its role in a changing world. For Spain, and for Asturias in particular, this balance is what ensures continuity without stagnation and progress without rootlessness. By speaking of both tradition and renewal, Leonor showed that she understands her own role as symbolic of this bridge. She stands as heir to a monarchy that is centuries old, yet she represents the aspirations of a younger generation that demands relevance, transparency, and modernity. Her acknowledgement that Asturias gives her both history and hope was more than a personal statement. It was an invitation to all to see the past and the future not as opposites, but as partners in building a more humane and enduring society.